Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca Bosley and in today's video, we are going to be talking about parajumbles. So for many of us, parajumbles is usually a topic which is a hit or a miss. But I am here today to remove the fear of this topic from your minds. I'm going to be telling you guys just 4 or 5 tips, and if you use those, 90% of the times you are going to score full marks in parajumbles. So if you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. You may even press the bell button to get notified every time that I post a video. And you may let me know your views down below in the comment section. So let's begin. So the first thing that you have to do when a parajumble question opens up in front of you is that you have to read it thoroughly. You have to read it very carefully, and by the end of the first reading, you should know the gist of it. Like you should know what the author is basically trying to tell you through those 5 or 6 sentences. That's the reason, just dedicate those 3 or 4 minutes to read those sentences very carefully, know the gist of it. So after your first reading, you have to be able to figure out what is the introductory statement in all the sentences given below. So what basically is an introductory statement? It is a statement which is the opening statement. So it basically introduces like a person, a thing, a place, or say an event or an institute, etc. It describes it basically. It's just basically a normal simple statement, like say for example, so and so event was held at so and so place on this date, or this person owns a bakery, what does he sell in the bakery, things like that, like a very simple normal statement. That is the introductory statement. So once you are able to figure out what is the first statement, you will automatically be able to like go with the flow. You will understand the transition from one statement to the other, and eventually you will be able to find out the entire sequence of the paragraph. Now after that, the next statement will be like a description of say the thing, the place, the person who is introduced in the first statement. So the next statement will be like a little more informative about the information that is given in the first statement. So that is how you figure out the flow from the first statement to the next. And then all the further statements after this will be like saying a little more about the basic core concept of the paragraph. Guys, one trick in order to realize which is the introductory statement and the statements that follow it are this. Like say for supposing I'm giving you one example that the statement revolves around this one person. Like say the first sentence is, there once lived a boy who was very handsome. Then there is another sentence which says, he was a foodie and he was fond of playing football. So you automatically know that the second statement, that is in which he is mentioned, that sentence is explaining the boy which was mentioned in the first sentence. Because they had introduced the boy in the first sentence, they were able to refer to him as he in the next sentence. So that is how you can understand the flow of the sentences. So take another example. The Kumbh Mela was held at Uttar Pradesh. That is one sentence. The next sentence is, a lot of devotees attended the event. So basically here in the second sentence, you know they're talking about the event. What is the event? Kumbh Mela is the event. So you automatically know that that is the first sentence, and in which the event is referred to, that is the second statement. So this is how you can understand the flow. So guys, you will need to remember one thing, there is something called as connector keywords. So these are basically the words which connect 2 or more sentences together. Example of connectors are but, although, therefore, if, and I'm going to like give you a few more on the screen. So say for example, there is this one sentence in which Shyam and Ram headed out to the park. Then there's another statement, however, after reaching some distance from their house, they decided to return back. So in these sentences, the connector word is however. You know that the sentence with the word however is going to come after the sentence in which there is a description of Ram and Shyam heading out to the park. So these are a few things that you need to remember. Connector words. Remember this. There's going to be like a list, or I'm going to like give you a list of those. And also don't worry, the more you practice, the more you'll understand what are connector words, the more you will get better at it. Then there is something called as a cause and effect keywords. So these keywords basically tell you that because this happened, that is the reason that happened. So example of these words are because of, since, whereas, or due to. So wherever these words come in the sentence, you have to know what it is followed by. So say for example, there is one sentence which says Ram and Sham went out to the park. Then there is another sentence which says Sita did not go with them as she was suffering from a fever. So you know there is the word as in it, and you know it is followed, and because of the word as, because Sita has a fever, she did not go with Ram and Sham. So you know that Sita's sentence like that comes second, and Ram and Sham going to the park comes first. And you understand that because of the word as. So you have to take a note of some of these cause and effect keywords. Guys, so far I have discussed with you guys like the flow of the sentences. When the questions open up in front of you, you have to read them carefully. You have to get a gist of the questions. You have to know what is the central idea. After that, you have to try to figure out the first, that is the introductory statement that describes the particular event, the person, the thing, etc. After that, the next sentence which comes about, that gives you additional information on the subject in the first question, in the first sentence. Then after that, the next sentences, the consequent sentences which follow that sentence, they basically give you additional information regarding the things that are happening in the first and the second sentence. Or it can also be like a cause and effect sentence. The third sentence can also be a cause and effect sentence. Like because this happened. Or there can be like a connective, a connecting keyword in the third, the fourth sentence, in the third or the fourth sentence, which gives you additional information on the first and second sentence. Or the third and the fourth sentence can take a completely different direction, but that is always with reference to the first and the second sentence. So far so good. You are here with me till here. Then after that comes the concluding sentence. So in a concluding sentence, there are usually words such as thus, hence, however, things like this. These sentences are there in the concluding sentence. It gives like a finality to the process of the sentences, and that is how you automatically come to know that okay, fine, this ends here, this is the concluding sentence. So guys, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to give you guys a chart of all these sentences. That is a connecting sentence, a cause and effect sentence, then introductory, the words that you have to find in introductory statements, and concluding words. So you all can save the chart like for your own reference, take a screenshot of the screen and practice a lot, and you will get a hang of it very soon. Also, what we'll do is we'll discuss like one or two questions so you have like the clarity of how I go about solving my parajumbles. So let's see the first question. So guys, let's look at this first example. In the given question below, rearrange the sentences in the correct order and choose the correct options. So I'm reading out the sentences. They washed their belongings and put them out to dry on the river's bank. The heart of the city lies along more than 80 ghats or sets of stairs that descend into the western side of the Ganga River. Along this more than 4-mile stretch, activities range from the mundane to the religious. Local men and women swim and bathe. Okay, so let's look at it very carefully. P, Q, R, and S. In the sentence Q, they describe about the heart of the city, like where does it lie, and it talks about the western side of the Ganga River. In the sentence P, they talk about they wash their belongings. So they refers to, they are talking about like a group of people. In the sentence S, they talk about local men and women, they swim and bathe. And then in sentence R, they say that along this more than 4-mile stretch. So in this sentence in R, they mention about this, like the word this, which describes like some other activity or another place. So I can figure out immediately that the first sentence is Q. The heart of the city lies along more than 80 ghats or sets of stairs that descend into the western ghat of the Ganga River. Now I know that the next sentence is going to give me like a little more information regarding this western side of the Ganga River. So I automatically look at R and I know that that is the next sentence because it gives me more information on the first sentence. So R says, along this more than 4-mile stretch, activities range from the mundane to the religious. So far so good. I know the first two sentences. Now P sentence, in P they talk about they wash their belongings. So, who washed the belongings? I have no idea. That is the reason I go to S, and I know that S is the third sentence because it talks about the local men and women, and then in P they talk about them, like they wash their belongings. So, I know that in P they're referring to the people that they have spoken about in S. So, that is the reason I know the third sentence is local men and women swim and bathe. And then I know the fourth sentence is they wash their belongings and put them out to dry on the river's bank. So this is how I have figured out the entire sequence of the sentences, which is QRSP. The first sentence, the heart of the city lies along more than 80 ghats or sets of stairs that descend into the western side of the Ganga river. R. Along this more than 4-mile stretch, activities range from the mundane to the religious. S. Local men and women swim and bathe. P. They wash their belongings and put them out to dry out in the river's bank. So guys, I hope that you have got like a clear understanding of how I go about solving parajumbles. Let's take another question. So let's see the next question. A set of 6 statements is given, out of which only the first statement given in bold is fixed and the rest are jumbled in any random order. Rearrange the remaining statements in the right order and answer the questions. So here the first sentence is fixed, and among all the other sentences we have to figure out the sequence. So 1, that is a fixed sentence, is across the globe, well-functioning cities do one thing really well. They bring people together. P. The goal is to slow transmission and avoid overwhelming health systems that have finite resources. Q. But the coronavirus pandemic is now seriously limiting social interactions. R. With no vaccine available, prevention through containment and social distancing, along with frequent hand washing, appear to be, for now, the only viable strategies against the virus. S. Social and economic interactions are the hallmark of city life, making people more productive and often creating a vibrant market for innovations by entrepreneurs and investors. T. Hence, non essential businesses have been closed and social distancing measures, including lockdowns, are being applied in many countries. So, now in the fixed sentence, that is the first one which is given to us, across the globe, well functioning cities do one thing really well, they bring people together. I know the central aim or the central idea of the first sentence is well functioning cities and bring people together. So now I need to find a sentence which gives me a little more information about well functioning cities or bringing people together. So in all the sentences given below, the closest that I have to this is sentence S, which says social and economic interactions are the hallmark of city life, making people more productive and often creating a vibrant market for innovations by entrepreneurs and investors. So I know that S is the first sentence after the fixed sentence. Now, after finding out the first and the second sentence, I need to have like a connector. So, in all the other sentences, but is a connector. So, Q automatically becomes the next sentence, which says, but the coronavirus pandemic is now seriously limiting social interactions. Okay? So, the first sentence talks about well functioning cities and bringing people together. Then the next sentence, that is S, it talks about the hallmark of the city life and what does it do. It brings people together, making people more productive and often creating a vibrant market. Then after this, the next sentence is Q, which says, but the coronavirus pandemic is now seriously limiting social interactions. Now, I want one sentence which talks a little more about the coronavirus pandemic and the seriously limiting social interactions. So, the next sentence will be, with no vaccine available, prevention through containment and social distancing, along with frequent hand washing, appear to be, for now, the only viable strategies against the virus. Guys, are you seeing the flow in the sentences? So, the next sentence will now be P, which says the goal is to slow transmission and avoid overwhelming health systems that have finite resources. And then we have the concluding sentence which says, hence, non essential businesses have been closed and social distancing measures, including lockdowns, are being applied in many countries. So, guys, did you guys understand the flow of the sentences? Like how it goes from one sentence to the other? And even if you all have not understood it by now, just don't worry about anything. You guys will get like a edge in a few days with practice. Just keep practicing a lot, just keep reading a lot. You will automatically understand how the flow in the English language works. So, guys, what you are seeing on your screen right now is like a compilation of like introductory words or say connector keywords or concluding words, etc. You may take a screenshot of it for your reference. And I want you guys to like practice a lot because I know a lot of you might be finding this difficult at the moment, but just let me tell you that practice makes you perfect. It will give you the confidence to tackle any sort of parrot jumble that comes in the question in the exam. So what I want you guys to do is in the next 2-3 days or say in the next 1 week, just go through at least hundreds of parrot jumble questions, read them and follow the sequence as I have always told you. And I'm saying this and repeating this like time and again. So the uh, like the procedure is fixed in your head. The first thing is read the sentences carefully. The second thing that you have to follow is try to find out an introductory statement. Then after that you need to find out the sentence which gives you more information on the introductory statement. Then you need to find out connector words. You need to find out transition words. You need to find out different things like this, and then you need to find out like a concluding word or a concluding sentence. So that is how you go about the whole flow. And yeah, that's it. So I just want you guys to practice a lot, like practice hundreds of questions in the coming weeks, and you will sail through the parrot jumble section, trust me. So that was it for today's video, guys. I hope you found this helpful, and if you did find it helpful, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. You may comment down below your views, and also just remember to practice a lot and you will like get better at it with every single passing day. I hope I have tried to make parrot jumbles a little simpler for you, and thank you so much for watching.